you helped engineer one of the biggest political upsets in Nigeria's history in 2015, bringing the APC to power. More than a decade later, you've left that same party and you're now seeking the presidency under the ADC. Should Nigerians see this as an admission that the political project you helped build has failed? And what responsibility do you personally bear for Nigeria's current trajectory?
I happen not to be President Bola Tinubu. So you can't certainly put that blame on me. Indeed, if anybody should bear the blame, it's Nigerians who've actually voted for him, if they actually voted for him, not me. When we decided to form the APC, you know, while I was a minister, President Tinubu was claiming he made Buhari president, and I couldn't respond because I was a minister under President Buhari. That would be suicidal, because Buhari could fire you. So I could have said no to President. Then he wasn't the president. You know that you are wrong. You didn't make President Buhari president. Not only was I the DG of the campaign, but everybody would bear witness that I did all the battle.
I remember interviewing you during that.
I led the Governors Forum. I crisscrossed the country, fighting here and there, trying to get Nigerians to know that this is the time for change. Did we achieve the change? Here and there. In some areas, well, we did. In some areas, we did not, like every other country. What then spurred you into running for presidency? I didn't quite think we achieved all the objectives we wanted to achieve. I remember walking to the president's office one day, and I asked him, Mr. President, are we sure that we are achieving the objectives that set us on this path? But I won't tell you what he answered, because I'm writing a book. It will be my book.
But it must have been pretty obvious to you that you were not achieving those things.
Don't forget what I said. I said,
right.
In some areas we did. In some areas we failed the country. But don't forget, it could have been extremely difficult to achieve everything we set out to achieve. But did we do our best? We did do our best.
But your best wasn't good enough. That's the way Nigerians.
No, that's the way you assess it. Well, I'm sure, just hold on, Charles, because I'm sure that in comparison to President Tinubu's government, for Christ's sake, man, when you hear poles apart,
well, the funny thing is that
poles are too close.
They're saying that the problems that they have to confront is because of your
government. No, they should not say that. So who told them to vote? There were other candidates. There was P2B. There was Atiku Abubakar. So when they made the choice of Tinubu, they should also bear the blame. Can we not talk about Nigerians and President Tinubu, because I'm running for an election? I want somebody to say, why are you blaming Nigerians when you were part of the government? Not part of this government, part of the government that helped.
But I mean, you've spoken passionately.
I have always said
about hunger, about poverty, about economic hardship in Nigeria. But critics say, where was this urgency that you're bringing now? This passionate urgency when you served nearly 8 years as minister under the Buhari government?
Charles, are they being fair to me? Just be honest. These critics, as governor of Rivers State at Freedom House, in a ceremony organized by Professor Wole Soyinka, I told Nigerians, if you don't stone us, the politicians, we the politicians, they will not stop stealing. I was a governor. I said, the politicians are impoverishing Nigerians.
But you're a politician.
Yes, but so don't say, because you say my critics are saying, where was this passion? It's always been there.
Yeah, but did you impoverish Nigerians?
I'm a different politician.
So you're the only one who did.
No, not only me. There are others.
Right.
Oh, there are quite others. There's Fashola. He made his own contributions. There are other governors who made a lot of governors have made their contributions. But governors appear to be dying gradually, and it's quite painful. Now, I was governor of Rivers State, so you should ask me, what did you do in Rivers State? There were primary schools.
I will get to that.
No, so if I published,
okay, you tell us what did you do?
Okay, so in Rivers State you had primary school, brand new primary schools in every village. And when I got into government, it was 150 children per class. I turned it into 25 children per class because teacher-class relationship was poor. I provided every equipment you needed in primary school. The primary schools we built had a sick bay, had an assembly hall, a music hall with music equipment. We had employed 13,200 teachers. Every teacher, the headmaster had an office, right? And then we had contractors whose responsibility was to maintain the schools, and including, so you don't see children cutting the field anymore because there were people employed to do that. Then we handed over the school to the community and teachers. So we formed Community Teachers Association. What did they do? We, as government, we paid school fees to the school. And then the Community Teachers Association managed the school. So you don't wake up one day, one day, headmaster say, don't wake up one day and say, hi, where is your headmaster? Oh, he went to school's board to look for chalk. No, you don't have the money to buy, you don't have the money to run the school.
Yeah.
So it became a government private school institutions. Then I began to build secondary schools. We built secondary schools and hired Indians to manage those schools. Right? Each room had 2 children each. And there were about 1,000.
You hired Indians?
Yes.
Why would you hire Indians in Nigeria?
Because because of the computer part of the education.
Right.
So everything was digitalized. There was nobody coming.
You mean you hired Indians in addition to the Nigerians?
No, of course, they were Nigerian teachers.
Right.
They were Nigerian teachers. They were Nigerian teachers. But the Indians came in with their technology, and so every child had the capacity to interface with IT.
Right.
And so you won't go to any class or any room and you say you are looking for chalk or looking for this. Everything was digitalized. Now we began to build a new University of Science and Technology, which also was supposed to be digitalized. We didn't complete it before we left. What has happened to it, a new story altogether. Okay, so you come to road, literally every village had road, nearly all, not all. Then we also dealt with the issue of power. We have power sufficient. In fact, we wrote, that was one of the things that led to a disagreement between myself and the federal government. We told the federal government we have capacity to generate 715 megawatts of power. The River State requires only 450 megawatts of power, and we have 715. God bless Dr. Dele, he started it. By the time he left, he had done about 400 and something megawatts, about 450 something megawatts. And the rest, I added the rest.
That was under the NIPP.
Yes. So we added the rest. Now, the federal government didn't have the capacity to distribute it. So we wrote to the president to give us approval. Then we had installed about 28 substations for purpose of distribution of power. And we wrote to the president to give us the approval to exit the national grid and to do distribution. We didn't get the approval.
But that's what this government has done.
No, Buhari did it, please.
But what I'm saying is that this government has given enormous fillip to that concept.
Well, Buhari did it. If it was in the time I was governor, River State would have been self-sufficient in power supply. So we moved over from there. We built primary health care centers everywhere. In every village of River State, there was primary care health center. Not only did we build primary health care centers, we employed a new 400 doctors to make us 600 doctors, right? And we bought cars for every doctor. Every doctor that was in the primary health care center had an official accommodation, with 2 nurses also having accommodation. We did roads, water, right? Everywhere. So you need to go to Port Harcourt. But as soon as you come down from the airport, you see the reaction of people. Oh, Amaechi did this. Amaechi did that. Just pick a taxi and do that. That is why I have said this election should be a referendum on all of us. President Tinubu has governed the country. President Tinubu has governed Lagos. President Tinubu has been a senator. So you have a basis to judge him. Our leader in ADC, Vice President Atiku, has been Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you have a basis to assess him. P2B has also been a governor. I have been a governor, I've been a minister, I have been a speaker. You have a basis to assess me. So let it be a referendum. Let Nigerians not vote for, I'm from Yoruba.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a referendum.
So don't cry.
Assessment.
So if tomorrow you get a bad government, don't cry because you of the vote. I read people say, oh, I'm from Yoruba, I must vote for Yoruba governor. I'm from Hausa Fulani, I must vote. No. Because at the end of the day, there's no market for Hausa Fulani, Yoruba, Ikwere, Igbo, or anybody. The market is currency, Naira and Kobo.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Now, you have spoken about insecurity.
Yes, I have.
I mean, you talked about how you dealt with insecurity in Rivers State with the militants and all the rest.
That's what I'm most experienced.
And you said that insecurity is driven partly by economic desperation.
Mostly.
If elected president, what specifically would you do that this government and previous administration have failed to do to stop banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, that sort of thing?
So nobody was born to be a terrorist. Circumstances and environment force you to be a terrorist. Okay. So the first thing is, well, was a time we said, no Nigerian can commit suicide. Now people are being paid 25,000 naira and they're committing suicide just to kill people and kill themselves. Why? There's no alternative to that. What do you do in River State? When we go to River State, we say to ourselves, if you don't provide an alternative to crime, these guys will establish a crime economy. Okay, so we took up the position that if all of us were working in Shell, then Shell was in Port Harcourt, there will be no time to commit crime because at 6 a.m. everybody will go to work and come back at 6 p.m. tired and sleeping and wake up at 6 a.m. So you see there's activity. So when the mind is not engaged, they become the devil's workshop. Okay. So what would you do if you were elected president? There's social housing. Just imagine that we built 200,000 houses in Kano. Just imagine that. People say, where will you get the money from? I hear that 34.6 trillion naira was missing from our federation account. At least they said the World Bank said this. I read it from the World Bank that we collected 84 point something trillion naira and 34.6 trillion naira is missing. That alone can build houses. You may not get all you're looking for. And so if let's assume you're building 300,000 houses in Kano, that will be 300,000 masons. It will be much more than that, but let's just take it that each house will have one mason. That will be 300,000 carpenters. That will be 300,000 contractors. And so the payment that comes here cascades down. And so when it cascades down, everybody's involved in one thing or the other. And so you've been able to create jobs using that. So look at farming too. Suppose you create a hedge fund and you give people not only implements but funds to go into massive mechanized farming. Just imagine how many persons will be engaged in that. Maybe poultry, maybe dates, maybe anything, but just to create jobs. You just have to create jobs, just like we did in River State. You know, we had this banana farm in River State. For every day that Mexican came to the farm, they employed 500 persons. So imagine 10 days, that's 5,000 persons. And at that time, he had 2,000 hectares, so he was acquiring more hectares. Imagine the number of jobs you would have created. The more jobs you create, the more you take people away from crime. But what's happening now is, as good as the policy to remove oil subsidy is, the funds are in people's pockets. So governors are growing richer, the president and his team are growing richer, and then Nigerians are impoverished the more. If you say anything, you're locked up. El-Rufai is in detention, bail not granted. Tomorrow he's taken to EFCC, the next day to ICPC, the next day to SSS, all to shut up opposition. It will not happen. You know why? Hunger has no respite except food. So you can lock up everybody you want to lock up, you can flog everybody you want to flog, but if you're hungry, you're hungry.
But hunger,
that's why
also creates the opportunity for manipulation, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Okay, so that's another aspect to it. So the president is creating hunger as a way of manipulating voters.
Well, I didn't say that.
So I said it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said it. Now, so he's creating hunger as a way of manipulating voters. So on that day, city boys will bring a bag of rice, and some people will eat that rice and vote against them. Because a bag of rice does not solve hunger for the rest of the year.
Indeed.
APC, if they say they are strong, why are they not allowing the opposition to have their political parties? Why are they influencing the political and government institutions against the opposition? Why won't they leave the rule of law? The first thing I would do as president of Nigeria is the rule of law. There has to be law and order.
But for you to get to that point,
you have to be elected.
You have to first of all win the primary.
Well, you know what I said? I said, if I become the president of Nigeria,
but
that takes care of the primary and the election.
But you're entering a crowded ADC field. I mean, you're going in there alongside Atiku Abubakar, Mohammed Hayatuddin. Why should the ADC choose you in preference to them? Okay, so as much as possible, we've agreed in our meeting that nobody should discuss any of the presidential aspirants. I like that. So you're not going to tell us why you think you...
No, I'll tell you why. Right, I think not about Atiku or Hayatuddin, but why I'm electable.
Right.
I'm the most experienced of them all. I'm the youngest, but most experienced. I have been chairman of Governors Forum. None of them, including President Tinubu, has been chairman of Governors Forum. He was once a governor. I've been chairman of Speakers Forum. None of them has been... In fact, President Tinubu was partially in the parliament as a senator, but how long was he a senator? And what positions did he hold in the Senate? But I held not just the speaker, I ran the Speaker's Conference. I established the Speaker's Conference office in Abuja. And I ran this thing for 2 terms. I was in the second term literally asked to come and be chairman again. I became the first chairman to have a second tenure as chairman of Governors Forum. And you saw how controversial it was. The president then didn't want me to come back. I remember the president called me one day, Amaechi, sir, you have turned the Governors Forum into a labor union. And I said, no, sir, I'm just a public relations officer because your governor is a member.
Right.
So it's what the governors decide that I just announced. So, sir,
your contention is that you've got the experience.
Of course.
Right.
I'm the most experienced of them all.
But if you fail...
And I said I'm the youngest.
Right. Yes, that's a good point to bring up. That'll win you plaudits among some younger people. But if you fail to secure that ADC presidential ticket, will you unequivocally support...
Of course I will. That's another agreement we had.
Right.
No, of course I will not leave the ADC. I will support the ADC.
Right. Okay.
But the process must be fair and transparent.
Do you believe it will be?
Well, I have to first get the records of what happened in the yesterday and today. I don't know what it is, but so far I have not, apart from 2 persons, I've had complaints from 2 persons. I've not been able to hear much complaint. But if the process is not free and fair, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
In 2023, you made an unsuccessful bid for the presidential ticket under the APC, and now you're going for it again under the ADC. What's it like to lose a bid for a presidential ticket when you think you might win? I mean, does it hurt badly and stay with you, or were you able to shrug it off?
Well, it wasn't that easy. You know, I'm a Christian. And
so you wept and you went to church?
No, I didn't quite weep. I began to ask God, no, do you honestly believe that Nigerians should continue to suffer? And then it affected my faith a bit until my spiritual director came one day and said, look, you've not joined me to pray with me for some time now. I said, yes. He said, why haven't you joined me? I said, because does God want Nigerians to continue to suffer? Then he turned to me and said, who are you to question God? Just tell me who the hell you think you are to question God. And then I went back on my knees and I asked God to forgive me my sins. So
are you more confident this time? I mean, how much has changed in your favor since your last bid? Or has
so what makes me
become quite difficult?
What makes me think that I could win the election is I'm not an ethnic politician. No.
Yeah.
Everybody who knows me.
No, but what I'm saying is, are you more confident now?
That's what I'm saying. I said that makes me more confident.
Right.
Well, of course, not much was done. The primary that President Tinubu won, no, compared to the amount of work we have put here now, we expect that the turnover and the profit will be better than what it was in the era of AP.
So how are you planning to fire up the members of the ADC and rally the party to your cause? Because you're facing, let's face it, stiff competition from your rival.
You know, what my rabbis used to say was, Amaechi is not popular in the party. And then I said to myself, that's because I stopped talking. For the past 1 week, I've been talking. People said, you shouldn't have been talking. But when I kept quiet and I was doing my job by going to private individual members of the party and asking them to vote for me, you say, it's not popular. You like noise, so let's make the noise. Now it's, too much noise.
but I haven't heard a lot of people from within the party talking sort of collectively about you. I've heard them talk about Atiku. I've heard them talk about when Peter Obi was there, they talked about Peter Obi. There was a sort of organic movement around them. But I haven't heard that.
The problem you have is you're used to social media. I don't operate. If there's one lesson I learned in the APC.
Well, I'm talking about people who came here to speak on their behalf.
Those are the earlies. They believe in what you're doing now. I won't trust. They send them to come and speak. I listened to my friend Dylan Modu abuse me, so first, that video was not correct. I didn't storm out anywhere. The chairman of the party did not speak to me to step down for anybody, nothing. Just normal visit, normal conversation, then I left. Because I was walking briskly, they say storms out. Now somebody said, but why are you not smiling? As if you're angry. So I behave like an old man. I get out of David Mark's house. How are you? There was nobody.
I saw the video of you coming out of David Mark's house. I didn't see you smiling.
I said, what they wanted me to do was, as I come out, I must be mad. I must be mad.
In any case,
I finished talking with him. Right. He walked me to the door. Right? And then I walked briskly. Don't forget, I walked.
You certainly walked briskly.
I walked.
People interpreted that that something had been said to you.
Charles, I walked 23 kilometers a day. I walk 23 kilometers a day, brisk walk.
That's brilliant.
And I do it 5 times a week. 5 times a week. So I do brisk walk. So when he saw me off to the door and we shook hands, and then I walked briskly. What people expected me to do was sluggishly, smiling to myself, mental case because of politics. Is that what they wanted me to do? Then somebody picked it up and said, Amaechi storms out of the remarks.
That's true. That's how it was interpreted.
And said that the remarks must have told me, Amaechi, you have to step down. I step down for who? That had not even come up.
But did that ever come up? It didn't come up?
Oh, no, never.
Do you have that meeting you had with Peter Obi? Because the impression we had was that he came to approach you to support him.
No.
Absolutely not.
Peter Obi was only talking at that time about a southern front, because it was a turn of the south. And my position is south or north. Let merit be the basis to it.
So they didn't approach you to say,
please now, if you know me, Charles, can you approach me?
Well, I'm sitting here with you.
Charles, can you approach me?
I wouldn't approach you in any other way, but I'll certainly approach you sitting where you're sitting.
As a journalist.
Oh, yeah,
but you certainly can approach me to sit down for, because you already, look, I gave them the history of how coalition was formed, not ADC. And that, when the coalition was formed, I was top. The first person to call for the meeting was me. And I made it clear I want to be president. So how could come forward and say, no, you can't be president? No. The only way you can stop me from being president is by stopping me through votes. All the candidates are eminently qualified. The vice president is eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria, just like Hayatuddin is eminently qualified to be president of Nigeria, like me. So we present ourselves before the party, let the party choose. We are not like any other party. Here you have democracy. Here you have people who have ideas of how to govern the country, not people who...
Well, that's a hopeful sign. If it goes the way that you're saying it, you hope it'll go. But I mean, what I'm interested in, you've had a lot of experience over the years. I mean, you've said that yourself, and one of your big crowning moments was how you were able to pull off, obviously in association with others, that coup in 2015. I mean, that remains an incredible thing in Nigeria's history, and people are watching to see whether you can pull off something like that in 2027. But when you look back at that era, of the, when you ushered in the APC, did you ever anticipate that you would be where you are today on the opposite side of the fence after serving 8 years at the highest level as of an APC government?
You're making me go into the book I'm trying to write.
Well, it just gives people a sense of where you've
By the time we got to power, I realized that politically there will be some errors that we have made politically, not administratively. Why? A lot of us believed that collegiate leadership was the best, and I don't think we got it. I don't think we got collegiate leadership. And I still believe that the best leadership when the political party wins is collegiate leadership. Why? Because the president did not elect himself, and he's not a repository of all ideas. But if he brings everybody together in the party who help to put him in power, they will share the ideas, they will agree on principles and issues of policies and all that, and he goes out there to implement as Mr. President. Nigeria will be better for that, not for me as president. And I said, and I don't know what's happening at Adamawa, and I said, please take yam to Adamawa. How? Supposing Adamawa people don't eat yam. You get that?
So people say the same thing about the Buhari government, that he wasn't going out there to sort of take charge of things.
Why do you want me to criticize my former boss?
No, I'm just saying that if you're going to be honest to the Nigerian people and you expect them to be honest with you, then you've got to open the books and tell us how
Charles, do you see me as a dishonest Nigerian?
Well, I don't really know you that well. So, okay, I mean, you were governor. I don't know what you did as governor. I've heard of some of the things you did. But, I mean, I wasn't there with you. So I don't know whether your hand went into the tail or whether it didn't. I mean, I don't know.
There was no tail. It was public tail.
I like that. Well, I don't know how, to be honest with you, I have no idea how these things were.
So you have no business being in Nigeria. You better go back to the
No, it's not. So I should know how the money is stolen from a tail. That would make me Nigerian.
My last interview, I explained how it happens. I did. It was public. Charles, please go to policies. Don't be
Yeah, well,
discussing
let
this
me.
issue.
What I'm asking you is this: how do you now, after all that time, assess the texture of Nigerian politics? I mean, you're in it now, and you're going into it. I mean, as a presidential aspirant.
Look, the day Nigerians decide to take power in their hands, Nigerian politicians will become responsible. The problem with Nigerian politics is that they are not held accountable.
Yeah.
Anybody who is held accountable is because he's opposed to the government.
So if you were president, how would you move that needle forward?
Didn't you hear what I said? I said my policy will be law and order. So it's not because you don't like the president and then you go to prison.
You are, of course, a lawyer yourself.
Yes. So now, if not because you don't like my faith that takes you to prison, what will take you to prison is what you have done. Now, not also will it be that because you like the president, then you are forgiven from the crime you have committed. No.
And was that how you ran Rivers State?
Of course.
I mean, there's nobody there.
Yes. Nobody. No party was stopped from campaigning. Nobody was put in prison. No house was seized. Nobody's property. You can ask. Charles, I thought you were a journalist. If you are, you should be an investigative journalist.
No, actually, I'm a politician. I'm just sitting here pretending to be a journalist.
I should have known that. Then there's no basis for you to come in for an interview. There's no basis for you to come in for an interview. Because if you're a journalist and you are an investigative journalist, for Christ's sake, before you interview me, you ask questions around me.
No, we have asked questions.
If you say you ask questions, then you could have said you don't know what I did.
We've asked questions. We just want to hear it from you.
No, you said I asked you say you don't know what I did.
We want to hear it.
No, you say you don't know what I did. You have a studio, I guess, in Port Harcourt. Right?
So yeah,
So
we have a team in Port
Harcourt. Okay, so send them out to the streets. I didn't say send them to any particular person. Send them out to the streets and see the regrets and see what they are saying. In fact, the common saying in Port Harcourt, if Amaechi was here. That's the common saying.
What do you think your party, the ADC, can do in order to succeed in 2027?
The first is to mobilize Nigerians to know that the power to vote and be voted for rests in their hands. To know that if anybody tries to rig this election, the person should be held accountable for trying to rig the election. To vote and remain there until they upload the result. Not to accept anybody who says he can't upload. That's a lie. Because the last glitch, nothing happened. The glitch was fabricated. Now, this time there will be no glitch. Let the people decide. You see? Okay, so let me tell you how you could do that. If by the time INEC was saying there was a glitch, there were 1 million persons in the front of INEC's office, they won't say there's a glitch. Nigerians must learn how to defend their votes. Okay, I thought this interview.
Well, it's almost over. You've literally got 1 minute. So let me ask you.
That's good.
Let me give you that one. Let me give you that 1 minute to summarize and give your message to the Nigerian people and to members of the ADC.
The first message is please vote for me, and I'm serious about it. I'm serious that Nigeria will change, not just about ADC. Nigeria will change in all ramifications on all fronts. Not only will Nigeria change, I want to be held accountable for every action I take. And I want to govern in a manner that people themselves will be involved in the governance, just like we did in Port Harcourt. What did we do in Port Harcourt? We went from local government to local government, village to ask, what do you want? See what we did. We paid contractor this amount of money. This road that is going to your village, you have paid contractor this amount of money. Contractor will begin to get scared and make sure he discharges his responsibility. So the people will be involved, the political class will be involved, everybody will be involved. So ADC should vote for me because this will be a new party, a new ADC, a new government. Why would Nigerians vote for me? Because I will reduce poverty. I didn't say I will eradicate it. I said I will reduce poverty. So also will I reduce crime. I have done it before in Rivers State. When I came to Rivers State, it was bad. Nobody could walk the streets. Children, 2 months old children were being kidnapped. 2 years old children were being kidnapped. I stopped all that before I left office. I can do that in Nigeria.
Okay.